Hello and welcome back. And in the last video, we actually created our weather response. So let's go ahead and continue and create another manager inside the managers folder. And this is going to be a file from the template. We're going to select Swift file as the template. We're going to name this API manager. Okay, API manager. We are going to import CoreLocation. And we're going to create a final class called API Manager. Okay, this class needs a few things. So basically this class is responsible for making the API call to the endpoint that we are interested in. Now, the weather map API, as you recall, it requires an API key. So you can go ahead and register yourself for the API key. I've registered myself, so I'm going to use the API key that I have gotten, and this is the API key. So that's going to be the first entry, the API key, and then you have the base URL. That's another property that we're going to create. So we're going to have the base URL with the endpoint that we are actually looking for, and we're going to append rest of the information. So there's one more modification I'm going to make is here we know that actually let's leave the weather base URL as this. Okay, we're gonna append more into this. Okay, so now we're gonna start by creating a function. Now we're gonna create a function called getWeather. It is an asynchronous function which is designed to retrieve the weather data from the specified geographical location, and we're also basically gonna expect it to receive the latitude and longitude information, so we can pass that along to the API endpoint. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our function called getWeather for okay, and we are going to expect latitude, which is going to be CL location degree, which is a wrapper or type alias with double. So basically it's just double, so degrees. And now Xcode is trying to help me by creating this completion block. I don't want to create that because I want to use async and await APIs. So I want to create this function async. Okay, and I also want to make sure that this actually function throws any error if it encounters one, and we are going to basically return the weather response. Okay, now we're gonna take the Xcode suggestion for URL. So we're gonna have URL weather URL, the base URL plus weather, latitude, longitude, API key. And for the response, we can actually await on the response. So try await URL session. You're using shared session and data. And now we are actually going to, let's see. So data from, I think this is where it actually, let's see. So we're getting, okay, yeah, this is correct, but this is the URL. So I actually really like the predictive model that Xcode has now. Xcode 16 has, and it's based on the previous things that you have done. So we're gonna return weather response as empty. So I'm going to actually just create an empty response. That way we can actually decode. And okay, so what we are doing here, let's see. expected data. Okay, so let's fix one by one. So what we have going on here is we are trying to extract the URL. Okay, we are putting guard statement. If the URL is not extracted, we're gonna return an empty response. That's what we are doing here. Let's create a gap. So then we actually are going to get response, and we're gonna get data. So it's a tuple that we get. Okay, and that is basically returned by the URL session shared data from URL. Okay, then what we do is we try to extract the JSON out of it. So we pass the data that we have received. Okay, and we're gonna return that decoded response. So JSON decoder is going to take over. It's going to decode based on the type with response.self, and it's going to decode that from the data that has been received by making this call to this URL, this endpoint. Okay, so that's what's going on here. So essentially, like, we are making an API call. And now our API manager is actually ready thanks to Xcode's predictive model. Actually, it was relatively easy. Okay, so with that, we have reached the end of this video. In the next video, we're going to start connecting all these together. So I'll see you guys there. Thank you.